if there's a guy that epitomizes Texas, that epitomizes songwriting, I give you George Ensle.
Yes.
Thank you, Randy. Well, I am Texan. More about that later. In every life, there comes a time to leave everything and nothing behind. You're too young to go, but you're too old to stay. So you're on your way, on your way to find your wings and the song that you were born to sing. But on your way, remember you always have a home to come back to. With every step, you'll learn to dance to the rhythm of life. If you just take the chance, keep the wind at your back now and the sun on your face, then you're on your way to find who you are is both near and far. Hitch your wagon to a star and on your way, remember you always have a home to come back to. So pack your new dreams, your old car, and keep on believing no matter where you are, you're where you belong, so seize the day. And be on your way to play your part. Seek the path that speaks to your heart, and on your way, remember you always have a home to come back to. So get your wheels a-rolling, get your wheels a-rolling. Thank you. Woo. Thank you. Yeah, Randy, I think you could turn the guitar down a little bit.
The monitor's really loud, Randy.
Maybe just turn the whole monitor mix down. That song is, I'm proud to say, is in a brand new movie called Buckalamo. It's a movie that was shot in Austin, and it's about a biography based on a friend of mine's story and his recovery and redemption. And the director and it was also the writer, Ben Epstein. He had me play myself in the movie. Rich, prosperous, well known.
Good looking, you forgot. Look at that grin.
Did I mention that it's fiction? But it's about a guy, Buck Alamo, this character. It's a lot like the fellow in this song, and that was inspired by a friend of mine who was a very smart man, very talented man, and but well-educated man who decided he wanted to live on the sofa circuit and play music and write songs. And he was his guitar was always in the shop, and it wasn't the repair shop. And he was the oldest of 6 brothers, and so he used to wear hand-me-ups because he was so indigent, and but he lived for the music and for the dream. And he used to call me in the middle of the night and say, "George, can you come pick me up?" I'd say, "Where are you?" And he'd tell me, and I'd go down and pick him up, and he'd be standing outside of a phone booth with a police car on the other side of him, and I'd pick him up. And so one night he called me, and he said, it was 2 a.m, he said, "George, you don't need to come pick me up tonight." I said, "Well, thanks for calling me and telling me that." He said, I've got a job. It's a perfect job. I'm driving a cab." He said, "I've got a job, I've got transportation, and I've got a place to live." It didn't last very long, but eventually the cab company came and got his cab because he didn't call in any fares for about a month. And they run into the sun, they stand out in the rain, a glutton for punishment, a friend to pain. Stay a little too high, a little too long, and a little too lost most times to find their way back home. Black sheep, the prodigal's always on the run, living in the moment, dying to have fun. An old soul chasing rainbows, dancing their own dance. Black sheep always need a second chance. You know they're always calling in the middle of the night. They're always breaking down, thinking you can make it right. Their love is bittersweet, they're loyal to the end. They're their own worst enemy and your best friend. Black sheep, prodigal, always on the run, living in the moment, dying to have fun. An old soul chasing rainbows and dancing their own dance. Black sheep always need a second chance. When they get back on their feet, that's when they fall from grace. When they get it all planned out, that's when they lose their place. Sometimes they look a lot like the likes of you and me, taking all those wrong roads, just trying to be free. Black sheep, prodigal, always on the run, living in the moment, and they're dying to have fun. An old soul chasing rainbows and dancing their own dance. Black sheep need a second chance. Black sheep always need a second chance. I wrote that song with Tony Ramey, our good buddy. Yeah, up in Greenville way. This fellow was kind of he was the quintessential black sheep. His name was Towns Van Zandt. I met Towns when I was a young fellow. I guess I was 16 years old, and my guitar teacher took me to the Sand Mountain Coffee House. He said, I want you to meet some folks. Guy Clark was living upstairs, and Towns was playing, and I heard Towns play the cuckoo, and that was it for me. I said, that's what I want to do, man. Fast forward about 20, 25 years, and I was fixing to have my first child, and my daughter. Towns said, why don't you come over to the house, George, and I want to give Charlotte a Bible. Went over to his house, and in his study he had a bookcase filled with Gideon Bibles. They were color coded. There was a purple shelf, and there was a black shelf, and a green shelf, and red. He said, what color you want, George? I said, Towns, you're not supposed to take those out of the motel rooms. You're supposed to read them while you're there. In typical Towns fashion, he said, man, you'd have to stay a really long while. I wrote this song for Towns because he was the poet. His fingers ring the silver strings, his spirit sings on golden wings, words to fly you from your world of care, words to tie you to people everywhere. The troubadour lost in his song about that road we're traveling on. May he find love between the lines, high above him, sweet sunshine. He's a city street, he's a country mile, lines cut deep around his smile. He's bars and stars, a boy and a man. He goes too far for a one-night stand. He's a troubadour, lost in his song, about that road traveling on. May he find love between the lines, high above him, sweet sunshine. Ragged as the wind, pure as the snow, no place to stay, everywhere to go, leaves for no reason, home behind, finds a way to make it right. The troubadour, lost in his song, about that road we're traveling on. May he find love between the lines, high above him, sweet sunshine. Towns Van Zandt. Went fishing with him one time. He had this houseboat, Lightning. He got his first royalty check from "If I Needed You" when Don Williams and Emmylou Harris recorded it, and it was for $2,500. And he had this green sheet, and it said, "Houseboat for sale, $2,000 negotiable." And so he went over to the guy's house, and he said, here was this houseboat up in the driveway, and this guy was like pacing back and forth, and he said, in front of the house in the street was a station wagon tied to a U-Haul with the engine running and a woman and 4 kids sitting in the back seat. And Towns said, I figured he might really need to sell this houseboat in a hurry, so I took my time and I walked around it kicking the tires and went inside and climbed around and asked him all kinds of questions. And the guy was starting to sweat, man. He could tell. And his wife started honking the horn, you know. Oh, man, this guy. So Towns said, so I pulled out the green sheet, and it says, $2,000 negotiable. Is that negotiable? He said, yeah, absolutely. He said, will you take $2,500? Sign the check over to the guy.
That's so cool.
That's Towns. That's the Towns right there. So I had a request to do this song. I want to do it before I forget. It's off my Small Town Sundown CD. It's a concept CD. A movie and song. I figure every song is a little movie, 3 or 4 minute movie. So I thought, gee, why don't I string a bunch of them together and make a big movie? So that's what I did, and wrote the story out in the book I've got out there. So this is these are a couple of characters.
Hey, George.
This goes out to all.
The book that you've got out there, is it available for sale?
It is.
Is it in the living room?
In the living room, yeah.
Okay.
Everything I have here is for sale. This guitar, it's negotiable. Thank you.
You got a guitar in the shop?
I do have a guitar in the shop.
See, your audience listens.
Grandma's apron smelled like bleach, and Martha White flour sometimes she'd reach down into the pocket and pull out a treat, saying how about a little something sweet. It might be a sugar cookie or a piece of fudge. I could feel the warmth, I could feel the love. Grandma baked in every batch, wearing that apron starting from scratch. It was all cotton, soft and warm. Used to let me use it for my Superman cape. It held me behind it when it thunderstormed. Grandma's apron had power. Grandma's apron had grace. Now Grandpa's vest was corduroy. We'd watch old westerns in his lazy boy. He'd reach in the pocket and pull out a toy, saying my sidekick's been a good boy. It might be a marble like the eye of a cat, or a whistle from a box of Cracker Jacks. That vest held his sweet surprise as it came with a wink from his twinkling eye. He used to let me wear it when I rode a stick horse pony. I was chasing down outlaws, badge on my chest. And when we took naps in his lazy boy, Grandpa's vest knew the cowboy way. Grandpa's vest knew tenderness. So when it came time to divide their things, brother wanted the car, sister wanted the rings. I said, I want the way they loved and blessed. Give me Grandma's apron and Grandpa's vest. Now my lady, where's Grandma's apron? baking sugar cookies when the grandkids come. I wear Grandpa's vest and my lazy boy, grandkids on my lap. I pull out a toy while we're watching Gene and Roy. And hop along, the Cisco Kid, Lone Ranger, Wagon Train, Rawhide, Cheyenne, Have Gun Will Travel, Wanted Dead or Alive, The Rifleman, The Rebel, Maverick, Wide Earp, Lash LaRue, and the Duke. So I went fishing with Towns, and that's what I was going to. If I started off telling you this story about going fishing with Towns, we were going to go over to Lighton in his houseboat. And on the drive over there, he said, let's stop at the Sonic. And so we did, and he ordered a fish sandwich. He said, just in case. So let me give you a little taste of Texas history here. Song I wrote with Richard Dobson. My name is Bigfoot Wallace. My brother died at Goliad. I come west of Texas, and I was fighting mad. I'm gonna shoot old Santa Ana right between the eyes to avenge my brother's murder. I would not be denied. Then in 1842, when I got my chance, we was captured in the town of Mir, down on the Rio Grande. We escaped into the desert, but surrendered in the end. They played El Gallo as they lined up our men. Beans from a clay jar, one by one we reached inside. Draw a white bean and you lived, draw a black bean and you died. Well, some men wrote their mothers, some men wrote their wives. I guess my luck was running strong, the bean I drew was white. 1 in 10 drew black beans and faced the firing squad. It was 17 against the wall, prepared to meet their God. Beans from a clay jar, one by one we reached inside. Draw a white bean and you live, draw a black bean and you die. After that I cleaned out horse thieves coming up from Mexico. I drove a stage through Comanche country all the way to El Paso. And I got my revenge in the Mexican-American War. And the one who held the clay jar, I evened up the score. Beans from a clay jar, one by one we reached inside. Draw a white bean and you lived, black bean and you died. I was a Texas Ranger, I wore that badge with pride. The town of Bigfoot, Texas is where I now reside. People come from miles around to hear about my life. I'd not be here to tell it, but the bean I drew was white. My name is Bigfoot Wallace. My brother died at Goliad. I come west of Texas, and I was fighting mad. It's incredible. They called it decimation. It came from the Romans. 1 in 10. All right, we're going to lighten it up a little bit here. I've got a brand new song for you here. This is my Roger Miller meets Mark Twain song. On the courthouse square in the summertime, shade of a white oak tree, them old men sat on benches, living history, whittling and spitting tobacco juice into coffee cans, solving the problems of the world as only old men can. At the cafe across the street, I told the waitress them men seemed to be the picture of contentment, living out an old man's dream. She laughed and said it wasn't always that way, now you might not believe. Just a while back, all that sat on them benches was white oak leaves. All started when some ladies got together after church and decided to clean up the courthouse square. So they went straight to work on a plan to ban spitting and whittling. They's gonna put up signs, no whittling or spitting, $100 fine. Well, the signs went up and the men went home till the wives started to shout, "You're underfoot and in the way," and kicked their sorry spitting cans out. The old men had nowhere to go where they might congregate. The barber shop was way too small and it was too loud for this cafe. So they met down at Lucy's bar, started drinking right at 10, playing dominoes and checkers until the alcohol kicked in. Then they'd fight about whose turn it was and call each other cheats. Lucy called her wives and said, "Come get her or I'm calling the police." No one knows where those signs went. They disappeared overnight. Lester said he saw some old ladies pull them up in the courthouse lights. Sure enough, the next day, them old men was back again, sitting on them benches, spitting and whittling. Now the moral to this story and the message in this song is that sometimes there are some things that's best just left alone, like feral hogs and sleeping dogs and snakes and mama hens. An old man sitting on the courthouse square, spitting and a whittling. The old man sitting on the courthouse square, spitting and a whittling. Oh boy. My favorite Roger Miller story is about when he got stopped by the police for weaving, and the cop walked up to his windshield and told him to roll it down. He rolled it down. He said, "Can I see your driver's license?" And Roger Miller said, "Can I play with your gun?"
How'd that all turn out?
Only Roger. Well, let's see. I'll do something. Oh, yeah, you want to hear that? I'll do that, yeah. I wrote this with Danny Brooks, yeah. My old buddy from Canada. Old Canadian buddy. Most of you know this is called a fender, but pretty sure it used to be a bumper.
Is that one that dog ripped off the other day?
Oh. Danny Brooks, what a force of nature, beautiful man he is, and Deb. Well, I had this idea, and I was glad I took it to Danny to write it. Well, I've been doggone with things that didn't work. I got the short end of the stick. Well, I've had this old heart hurt, but nothing comes close to being caught up in the curse. Knee deep in a river and dying of thirst. Now you never get enough of the stuff that you don't need. Those that really have the most are asking for the least. Had myself a gold mine, but I never knew its worth. I was knee deep in a river, and I was dying of thirst. Knee deep in a river, knee deep in a river, knee deep in a river, and dying of thirst. In the middle of my darkness, well, light came flooding in, and that's when I discovered that river I was standing in would give me the best when I was down at my worst, knee deep in a river and dying of thirst. I was knee deep in a river, knee deep in a river, knee deep in a river and dying of thirst. You can sing with me now. Knee deep in a river, knee deep in a river, knee deep in a river and dying of thirst. I was knee deep in a river, dying of thirst. Thank you.
You know what song you need to play now that you got that guitar out, right?
Yeah, I was afraid of that.
Yeah, I
Yeah, you're all
knew. I know.
That's okay. This is a song that was inspired by living in South Austin, where the Bubbas and the Bubettes live. Where we used to have belt sander races and used to, the status symbol was having a car on blocks in the front yard. Mostly they were in the backyard. They had an annual large trash collection day in Austin, and or bulky item day. And in North Austin, everybody took all the junk out of their backyard and put it in their front yard, and the city hauled it away to the landfill. In South Austin, everybody took all the junk out of their backyard and put it in their front yard, and their neighbor took the junk out of their front yard and put it in their backyard. I call it redneck recycling. I was inspired to write this song because somebody had to write it. This is another audience participation song. All you have to sing is Hillbilly Heaven. Hillbilly Heaven. Want to try that? Hillbilly Heaven. Yeah. For Helen. Billy Bob wears a ball cap backwards and aviator shades. Black grease neath his fingernails and a little on his face. With a semi-toothless smile, he said, "Howdy do?" I was having second thoughts about what I was about to do. He's a shade tree mechanic. My alternator was gone. And he said, "If you brung one in an hour, I'll have her on." Well, I said I had a rebuilt sitting in my trunk. He said, "Pull around back," and that's when I saw Billy's jungle of junk. Billy Bob's backyard is a pack rat's paradise. Well, it's a redneck collection from a Bubba's way of life. It's hillbilly heaven with an old rot standing guard. Whoa, over all them white trash treasures filling Billy Bob's backyard. 4 Skeeter breeding tires leaning up against an ugly shed. Got a Studebaker pickup up on blocks with grass growing in the bed. Tin roof and warped plywood making a crooked fence. Slimy water standing in a John boat that's got about 100 dents. Rusty rebar bags of saccharine that got wet and turned to stone. Motorless lawn mowers by a clothesline haywired on to his girlfriend's Harley tank top and his Harley tee. Dead water heater and 2 lawn chairs with ripped out strap seats. Billy Bob's backyard is a pack rat's paradise. Redneck collection from a Bubba's way of life. Now it's a hillbilly heaven with an old rot standing guard. Whoa, over all them white trash treasures filling Billy Bob's backyard. You got your beer cans thrown in scattered piles. Chickens pecking in the dirt to an 8-track playing Born to Be Wild. Billy cleared away just enough space to squeeze my car between a satellite dish with a bird nest and a broke down washing machine. I was leaning on a chopper frame, watching him sweat and cuss neath a torn tarp strung from his mobile home to an old Volkswagen bus. Billy Bob's backyard is a pack rat's paradise. Redneck collection from a bubbled way of life. Here we go, it's a hillbilly heaven with an old rot stand garden. Boom, over all them white trash treasures, filling Billy Bob's backyard. Billy, give him a beer.
Amos, he's been in your backyard.
Well, inevitably someone will come up. A guy will come up to me after the show and say, you know, one of two things. He'll either say, I know that guy, or I am that guy. Well, the other day, a lady came up and said, I married that guy. Y'all are wonderful. You're good sports, too.
Thanks for playing that. I know you.
I like
It's
it.
not your favorite, but
Well,
I love it.
I'm very serious about what I do.
Yes.
But every once in a while, you know, silly is good. Silly's good. There's a place for silly. Let's see here. We'll do a. You want to hear a story song? Or you want to hear a story song? Story. I like that story songs. This is actually the title cut from next to the most recent CD, Home. My wife and I are gappers. Don't know what gappers are? Grandparents as parents. There's over 6 million of us in the United States that we know of. They actually had a book, and my daughter gave me this book, Grandparents as Parents. I told her, I said, they really should call this a second chance to get it right. She didn't like that. But anyway, we're raising our 4 granddaughters, and it's kind of like breaking into jail, you know. But I had to go back and learn all the old nursery rhymes, you know. This is one of my favorites. Remember this one? In a Greyhound station, a suitcase by her side, she just turned 18 years old. Daddy's little girl met a boy who did her wrong, and now she's starting to show. But there's a place she can go to raise her baby boy, where he can feel the love she'd always known. I asked where she was going as teardrops filled her eyes. She said, I'm trying to get back home. Home, family pictures hanging on the wall. You play outside until you hear your mama call? Climbing fences and running free. Smell of honeysuckle in evening breeze. Home. In his camo fatigues, on the shoulder of the road, he'd just turned 24, and he shipped out a country boy, came back a fighting man. The only enemy he has left in the war, but he's heading to a place where he knows he'll be safe. Try and find the innocence he'd known. And his old bedroom is waiting, so he's holding a sign that says trying to get back home. Home, mama's cooking, drifting through the back door screen. Daddy in his easy chair, grandma on the front porch swing, and fireflies dancing to a cricket sound. Peaceful moonlight wraps the love all around. Home. The bus driver pulled over and told him, climb on in. He'd been infantry and Vietnam vets, and when he saw that 1,000-yard stare in that young man's eyes, he knew he'd seen some things he had to forget. The only vacant seat on that bus was down the aisle, next to that young girl, all alone. He asked where she was going. She told him with a smile, I'm on my way back home. How about you? Thank you. So this is titled cut to my most recent record. About the power of one. I think Jesus talked about that quite a bit. Now there's some things I'd like to change about myself, but I got problems I can't blame on anybody else. I could do the work, make the world a little better place, changing the big picture with little acts of faith. I'm gonna spread a little sunshine, spend a little more time showing sweet mercy and grace, and find a way to make somebody's day, put a smile on a stranger's face. I'm gonna spend more time with the young and old ones and walk in my neighbor's shoes, and I'm gonna be the change I wanna see, be a better me, and be a better me. Now there's a lot of good deeds I could do that aren't that hard, a lot of good seeds I could sow right in my own backyard. I could walk the walk talk the talk for the greater good. Time is short, it's up to me. Do everything I should. Share my blessings with those who have less and live with a bigger heart. Make a bigger difference in the long run by believing from the start. We're all God's children trying to find our way. I'm gonna be that light in the dark. Gonna be the change I wanna see and be a better me. Be a better me. But I'm gonna love out loud and let love be what living's all about. Isn't that what he told us to do? Hug a little longer and a little stronger, show my family how much I care. Stop and smell the flowers and laugh a little louder, say a little better prayer. I'm gonna look to the future and honor the past while celebrating every day, being the change I want to see. Yeah, being a better me. Being a better me. Being a better me. Thank you. So I was telling you earlier about this movie, Buck Alamo. I have 5 songs in the movie, and I play myself in the movie. I already told you that. Rich, prosperous, well known, famous singer-songwriter. Sonny Carl Davis is the main character. He's an Austin icon. He's a legend. And actually, one of the movies he made in 1978 called The Whole Shooting Match, when Robert Redford saw that independent movie, he decided to start Sundance. That's how Sonny Carl, a face you love to look at. Kind of a Strother Martin-esque. Martin, you know Strother Martin? Ever Strother Martin? Anyway, he tells a joke in this movie that I think is one of the best jokes out there. He says, this old couple's walking along. There's 2 couples, and the women are walking in front of the men, and the guy says to his partner, he says, man, we had the best restaurant last night. And his friend says, what was it called? And he said, man, it had hot, fresh food, large portions. What was the name of the restaurant? He said, and the service was great, and parking was easy, the price was good. What was the name of the restaurant? Well, what's the name of that plant that's got the thorns on it with the flowers? He said, Rose. He said, yeah. Hey, Rose, what was the name of that restaurant we went to last night? One of my favorites. So this is, and now they're putting together a soundtrack. So I thought, well, golly, someone needs to write the ballad of Buck Alamo, and who better to write it than me, you know? So I wrote it, and actually they're talking about putting it out on vinyl. So who knows? It may go full circle. Yeah. My first record was on vinyl, and this will be on vinyl. Maybe so.
I think it's really cool about being able to play on that.
Yeah, Greg Whitfield's. This is kind of a synopsis. It's a song about redemption, a movie about redemption. Buck and sang some old-time Austin outlaw cowboy tales. about the hole in the wall and the outhouse, the spoke in the old split rail, when he was running with Towns and Blaze, minus an Ensle too. These days he's selling geos on Congress Avenue. Now Buck never won the battle he had with the booze, till that Sawbones told him his future was painted blue. So he tried mending fences to get his daughters back, though it looked like it was way too late for any chance of that. Now on with the show, Buck Alamo, you've got one more shot. The man in black is watching to see what all you got. Show him what you got. Preacher told Buck, you're like a blind bird flying with no wings. Trade the bottle for a Bible and find an old hymn to sing. You couldn't be a daddy, but you can be Haggie's grandpa. If you string the lights of love for all the darkness that you saw. On with the show, Buck Alamo, you got one more shot. The man in black is watching to see what all you got. Show him what you got. Buck has a cowboy sense of justice. He lets the bad guy fire first. But if you hurt his daughter, best get ready for the worst. Today there's a brand new singer at the Ebenezer Church, and one less bad guy out there doing the devil's work. So, go see the movie. Well, I love reading those church signs, those interchangeable church signs, you know. Like, man gets and forgets, God gives and forgives. If God is your co-pilot, change seats. Thank God for the dirty dishes. I like that one. The one that hit home the most, though, a lot of what this song is about is one I read that said, if you want to get rich quick, count your blessings. I'll see y'all in a few minutes. I asked for strength and I got troubles to get me straight and strong. I asked for wisdom and I got problems that taught me right from wrong. I asked for courage and I got dangers to get me through my fears. I I asked for answers, and I got silence that taught me how to hear. I asked for love, and I got strangers who needed a helping hand. I asked for mercy, and I got an old friend needed another chance. I asked for beauty, and I got to see the world through the eyes of a child. I asked for understanding and got to see an old one smile. I got the world in a raindrop and the promise in a seed. I got all I wanted when I got all I need. And when I asked for years, I got moments instead. When I asked for a feast, I got my daily bread. I asked for wealth, and I got work, and the hands to make my pay. I asked for truth, and I got a lady stands beside me all the way. I got the world in a raindrop and the promise in a seed. I got all I wanted when I got all I need. I got all I wanted when I got all I need. Thank you. We'll see you in a few minutes.